If you own a home either as a primary residence or an investment property, it's important to be aware of a concept referred to as adjusted basis. Now, for simplicity purposes, the initial basis of a home is oftentimes the initial purchase price. And as real estate appreciates over time, which it typically does, if you try to sell the property at an appreciated value, you could be subject to capital gains tax, which would be based on the difference between that initial basis or purchase price and the appreciated value at the time of the sale. Now, there's a few considerations to be aware of. Let's say the owner of a property tries to gift that property while the owner is still alive during their lifetime to, let's say, an adult child. Well, that adult child who receives the property as a gift is going to receive it at what's called a carryover basis, which is essentially the same as the initial basis that the owner had when they purchased the property. So if the adult child tries to immediately turn around and sell the property after receiving it as a gift, they're going to be subject to the same capital gains tax that the owner would have been subject to had the owner tried to sell the property. Now, let's say on the flip side, the owner passes the property to a beneficiary when the owner passes away, as opposed to during their lifetime as a gift. Well, the beneficiary who receives the property when the owner passes away is going to receive it at what's called an adjusted basis or a stepped up basis based on the fair market value of the property when the owner passed away. So therefore, if the beneficiary now tries to sell the property immediately after inheriting it, they're going to be subject to a lower capital gains tax relative to the adult child who received it as a gift. Now, similarly, let's say the owner of a property passes on the property when they pass away to a surviving spouse. Well, that surviving spouse will receive the property at an adjusted basis. And when the surviving spouse passes away and passes the property to a beneficiary, well, now that property is going to potentially receive a second step up in basis when the beneficiary receives it. So these are all considerations to think about when you're doing your estate plan. And there's additional basis considerations as well as capital gains tax exclusions, such as the 121 exclusion. And I'll be talking about those a little bit more next time. But these are all things to think about as you put your estate plan together, and we're here to help you do that.